Welcome to another live Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio. Thanks for watching us. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip Hayner's with me. Smoking Jim Frazier just made it on time. You have to pardon him, he's eating. That's a Jono a painting of Three Rivers Stadium. It's on our show each week. We're honored to have Jono's art here. You can find him at the end of Brookline Boulevard, right before you get down the south side. That's where his shop is, on the right side of the road, going the south side slopes. Can't miss it. It's a very well-decorated art store. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, and all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. We appreciate you. Thanks for liking our page on Facebook. This old dog learned a few new tricks. We're up to 6,881 likes. That's the most likes we've ever had. I got to announce that because we always fluctuate between 5 or 10 of them, but 6,881. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. I got some promos to do here. First off, we'll see what Steve does here. Thanks to our volunteers. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900, right at Hillcrest Shopping Center. They sponsor our show with an XL pizza and a steak hoagie, and both are delicious. Give them a call. Tell them Al Levine, the talking machine, said we want to order a pizza or some Italian food. It's all fresh ingredients. Frank Fanero is the owner, and he does a great job at the place. And the workers are all there, ready to get your order. Next up, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong in honor of a 9-year-old boy who died before his 10th birthday. He contracted DIPG, a dreaded brain cancer. His family is just a great family. Instead of feeling sorry about losing their second child, they sponsor all kinds of events in the neighborhood. They've donated well over $100,000 to doctors to try to find a cure for DIPG. You can go to Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, donate $1, donate your time, check out the events that they have in the area, from their 5K 1-mile run to different places where they do all kind of sales of clothing and used supplies and stuff. So they're always out there doing good things in the community. Just a great group. Next up, 2600 South Park Road, the Bethel Park Historical Society's Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. It's a schoolhouse from 1905. They just put a new roof on the place. I go there for my loose leaf green tea. Matt and Julie are the owners of Reginald's Coffee. Again, that's 2600 South Park Road. They're open from like 7 to 2 each day. And they have great coffee. They roast their own coffee there. They got many different blends. All you coffee drinkers would love the place. They even have different sweet treats for Smoking Jim Frazier to stop in. One day he said he'll come up and have a cup of green tea with me, so we'll see if that happens. He's not known to lie. He's an honest man, but I just can't track him down on this stuff. So next up, the Bethel Park Community Foundation. They do a lot of great things. They have money for you from $100 to $5,000. They gave out over $100,000 last year. They're on pace to do it again this year to local groups and organizations. They had their Bethel Bounty at the Crown Plaza. I was there. Smoking Jim, I ate so much good food. It was unbelievable. Wow. It was a packed house, over 300 people there. They had raffle prizes, giveaways, 50-50 tickets. They put me in charge. Wow. And we got almost $1,400. The winner got $689, Smoking Jim. They were all saying, can I get a couple tickets? And we sold them like crazy. I had 2 National Honor Society girls And they were just great helping me out. They kept me straight there while I walked around and got every table and every person possible. So we did a great job there. It was a lot of fun. And it'll be back there next year at the Crown Plaza. Next up is Smoking Jim. Dave Cable has some fun at my expense. Look at how he put my face on Uncle Sam. I want you for BPTV. Tell them Uncle Al Levine, the talking machine, wants you to call 412-831-3304. You can be a volunteer like Jack, like Connor, who's the new kid on the block. He's been here 3 weeks in a row and learning the cameras and the sound. And then you got Jack here, who's a freshman at Bethel Park High School, helping us out. And Smoking Jim's friend Zach's not here tonight, so he's busy elsewhere. Well, that's my promos I have, and we also have a sponsor for our What's on Your Mind, and this guy is Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. It's in Finleyville, 7 miles from my house, and he works on anything and everything that runs on gas. So check him out and give him a call, 724-348-4715. They're past Trax Farm, Mineral Beach, and the Dairy Queen. You find them at a red, white, and blue station, so check it out. We're ready to start the show with What's on Your Mind, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. Back in my high school quarterback option days.
What year was that?
We'll just call you Lamar.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. We're all very competitive in here, all of us in here, and we've been having a contest for a long time. I'm sure Connor's involved, Jack's involved, Rookie of the Year's involved, Chip's involved. I know Al Levine, talking machine, me and him been going head to head, but I'm still the reigning undisputed champion for most Facebook friends, so congratulations.
Hold it. I conceded that. I hit 4,500 friends, and I was about 300 ahead of Smoking Jim, and I said, I concede to you because I don't want to start another Facebook page. So I'm at 4,678. Very happy for my 4,678 friends, and the 365 that I have waiting. Just keep on waiting. And I don't care what he says. We're not in competition with how many friends you have, because I got many more friends that aren't even on Facebook.
That is true. But I'll tell you what, I pulled a brother move today. In the mail I received, you get free lunch at Golden Corral.
Yeah.
If you go to this stem cell rejuvenation seminar.
Yeah.
So I went up there and met Dr. Schultz, very impressive doctor. I learned a whole lot about stem cells, and I started to.
What is a stem cell?
It's well, if you got bone on bone, somehow they give you some injections to put the fluid in there, because most things is just that for the inflammation, taking the swelling down, making you feel better, like aspirins and painkillers. But this is actually, stem cell rejuvenation, and it's a great thing.
Where do they get them from?
I didn't pay that much attention. I mean, it was going fast.
Folks, this is why I wanted to get to the bottom of this conversation.
He was worried about lunch.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I was eating good and almost signed up.
For what?
Consultation is usually $250. But for the people that went to the
you
seminar,
had $250 on you.
Yeah, but for the people that went to the seminar, if you go on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, it was only $20. So I was going to do that, and they told me that, to get the procedure done, it was $8,000. So I decided to back out. I started to wait a while on there, but it sounded good,
Hold it, wait a second. Did you ask them, would that cure my leg issues?
Yeah.
Because whatever leg trouble you got, they could fix it.
They told him the $250 you would spend on his seminar, put it on Duke tonight.
Yeah, that's it, brother. But what's on my mind is, I tell you what, you know what I mean? I tried to tell the National Football League, I told everybody, even on this show, I predicted that the Baltimore Ravens would be a problem for everybody in National Football League because Baltimore was committed to the run. Most teams in the National Football League now, it's a finesse league. You know what I mean? They're not used to offensive linemen love to run block. They're committed to the run. They got a pretty good running back. And that Lamar Jackson, if you're talking about, you know, most people when they play against the New England Patriots defense, they're the ones seeing ghosts. New England Patriots defense was seeing ghosts. They couldn't put a hand on him.
You know what happened? Bill Belichick did not want to show his total defense because they might meet Baltimore for the playoffs. So he didn't show everything because their defense looked terrible.
They look really bad.
And he wasn't showing anything.
And the greatest team of all time is the 72 Dolphins. They're the only ones that went undefeated. They used to beat up on the Steelers all the time. But I tell you what, Baltimore Ravens look very good, very physical. I got to give it credit to Harbaugh. I never knew till the last couple of years that he could really coach. And so
you mean since he put Lamar in charge?
Yeah, that was a good coaching decision. When Ray Lewis was there, he was the coach. So, hey, congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens. Good job beating the New England Patriots. Don't you agree, Chip?
Well, here's the only thing my concern is with Lamar Jackson. And I look at the history of rushing quarterbacks in the NFL.
Are you related to
and the shortness of their career.
Are you related to it?
And is what Lamar Jackson doing now sustainable?
No, heck no. He ain't going to last. Cam Newton didn't last. He won't.
Look at Cam Newton
He probably
now.
won't last 3 or 4 years, but we winning now. It's a win-now league. Who
the
cares?
Emperor has spoken.
Who cares? If they win the Super Bowl now and he gets hurt, who cares?
It's week 9. Okay, and since you already anointed the Cleveland Browns Super Bowl champions before the season started at 2-6, consider the source.
Don't
folks.
count out them brownies.
Hold on, disclaimer time.
Consider the source.
If you're gonna bet the opposite of smoking Jim Frazier when he's on his soapbox. He's great when he's pointing out the good points of teams that he really didn't like at the beginning of the year. And that team that he loved, what's that mistake on the lake? How'd they get to 2-6?
Wow.
Smoking Jim, what
By
do you...
being the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
Wow.
Chip and I had a couple conversations about you mentioning how great the Browns look on paper, and you thought they'd do it on the field.
Unfortunately,
I really did.
They play the game on grass.
And some artificial turf. Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Oh, thank you very much, Alan. And I would have to agree with my dear friend Jim Frazier in one aspect, is that there is a coach in the AFC North that is really showing his mettle and how good of a coach he is this year. And that would be Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think if Mike Tomlin is able to get the Pittsburgh Steelers into the playoffs this year, this will be by far his best coaching job and should probably win him Coach of the Year awards, because all of the excuses that people came up with in the past to downplay Mike Tomlin's success. You're winning with Cowers players. You inherited a franchise quarterback. If the Steelers go from 1-4 to making the playoffs this year, Mike Tomlin has got to be considered for Coach of the Year, because these are all his players.
Hold it, wait. We got to hear a disclaimer from Smoking Jim, because he can't agree with that. He doesn't respect him as a coach.
You know what? He and I seldom agree on much, but we do love one another and we respect one another. But I will tell you this: what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now is truly something to behold. Because when this team could have gone belly up, a la the Cleveland Browns, or say the New York Jets, or possibly the Miami Dolphins, here's a young kid, Mason Rudolph, who's learning as he goes. And even though he is not lighting the league up right now, he does not look overwhelmed behind center right now.
No.
You know, in 2 games in a row, he came back from deficits. And I got to tell you, the move of Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert to trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick was sheer genius. There's one person that he reminded me of, and there's only been 4 or 5 games, Ed Reed. I mean, this guy, the ball finds him.
He's a ball hawk.
I mean, Ed Reed, every time there was a big play made in the Ravens secondary, Ed Reed was there, you know? And Minkah Fitzpatrick started the first game, forced a fumble, got an interception, 96 yards, took it to the house last week. I mean, that solidified our defense. And now you've got T.J. Watt and Bud Dupree, who right now are as good as any pair of outside linebackers in the league.
Well, Bud Dupree took 4 years to get to this point, and it's a contract year. God bless him when he plays with another team.
Well, you know what? Whether he does or whether he doesn't, you know,
they aren't signing him like Lamar Woodley.
They could.
I guarantee
they could transition him for a year.
But they aren't going to sign him like they did with Lamar Woodley, because look what happened there.
No, well,
he got a big contract and busted.
But you know what? We're talking about winning now.
Yeah.
Right, Jim? Mm-hmm. We're talking about winning right now. Yeah. And right now, Bud Dupree and T.J. Watt are the piston that's driving that defense.
T.J. Watt couldn't be any more consistent with his sacks than he is this year.
But we finally got people in the secondary that can cover and can make plays. And we are second in the league in turnovers.
Yeah.
Behind the New England Patriots.
Can't beat that.
I'll tell you what. I like the prospects for the rest of the season. 4-4 going into the turn. And when we were 1-4, I thought there's not a chance. They may make it to 500 by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I like them this week against the Rams.
Well, can I say one thing?
Yeah,
before we go to elevating the talk?
Two, buddy, two.
Can I give Mike Tomlin, Coach Mike Tomlin, and Kevin Colbert some credit?
We'd finally like to hear it.
When you've proven for 13 years that you can draft defensive backs, go out and trade for good defensive backs like they did with.
I appreciate you not being negative on this.
And Fitzpatrick, they did. I gotta give them credit. Hey, Coach Donahoe used to say, "Get them good or get them gone." They've been getting very poor in the draft, so go after guys that are already in the Pro Bowl.
Do you not think that giving up a first-round draft pick, which will be in the later half of the draft,
right in the middle, right in the middle right now.
Yeah, right. But you've got a guy for 2 more years after this year.
I love him.
And then they can get him for the 5th year because he's a first-round draft pick, so they can give him the transition tag. You know, they can get him for a 5th year. So we could literally have him for 3 more years plus this year. So not getting a first-round draft pick next year, we got him this year.
And your issue bringing about Donahoe, who's a friend of my father's, I appreciate that. But the Chin, who you want in,
I love him.
He got rid of Donahoe.
They couldn't get along.
No, Chin got rid of him because he said it's me or him.
Yeah, they couldn't get along.
And they started all those rumors about the Chin.
Yeah.
But they didn't care.
But yeah,
Donahoe was gone.
Well, let me ask you, what is Terrell Edmonds doing when Fitzpatrick's making all these plays? Is he just standing around watching? Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering. You know, they're in the same
He's
draft.
good at it.
Well, yeah, but you know what Sean Davis is doing? Well, he's watching from the tub, bub.
Well, at least his brother was running.
Yeah.
Huh?
Edmonds' brother was running.
Yeah, he looked good.
73 yards.
Sean Davis looks like he's the odd man out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what happened to Nelson played pretty good.
I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen any evidence of that yet.
He had a couple good plays in the game. You must have missed it.
Yeah, I was watching.
When you're watching it, you press the button past him because it's all on remote control. It's DVR'd.
I'm still waiting. And it looked like Bush gave up another touchdown to a tight end. It looked like he was lost all game, Devin Bush.
He's a rookie.
Can I remind you of something? Mm-hmm. 26-24. Pittsburgh wins.
Was that third-string quarterback in there that we beat that played for 8
Don't
different
matter.
teams? Was that their first win against a team with a winning record?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I was wondering.
Got to win for one before you can get the second
Already
one.
got my money on the Rams.
Good man. That means it's money in the bank.
Let me hold your money, Smoking Jim, because it ain't going to last.
Yeah, you're betting history.
Thank you, Chip Hayner. What's on my mind? Well, I was going to talk Steelers just a little bit, but we'll talk about that later. What's on my mind is I'm watching Monday Night Football at a game that I couldn't watch that much because I'm not a Dallas fan. I'm rooting against them. And the Giants, they got a young quarterback, Danny Dimes, that they keep talking about how good he is. He only has 16 turnovers in 8 games. So I don't know what they're looking at there. And they talk about how good he is, and I didn't really see it. But the one thing that I did like is I saw a black cat come out onto the field and score a touchdown in the middle of the game.
Really?
After that, guess what? Dallas scored 34 points, and the Giants only scored 9 after the cat got on the field.
Wow.
And they guided the cat to exit the building. But it was a black cat on the field.
Wow.
So that's what excited me for all you sports fans. Watch what team takes advantage of the black cat, Dallas Cowboys.
What they used to call Hugh Green at Pitt, the black cat on cover of Sports Illustrated.
Roger Houston used to announce that, Hugh Green.
Roger
That's who
Houston
used to say
announced
his
his
name.
last race
And
last
shout
weekend.
out to Roger Houston. Good luck in your second career. He's going to Ohio to announce races there. He made some of the greatest calls that I ever
he
heard
did.
in history with Dragon's Lair, who was owned by Jeffrey Mallett. And this horse beat one of the greatest horses ever called Annihilator. And he beat him at the Meadows in one of the greatest calls that I ever heard in my life.
You want to know why I was listening to an interview with Roger on it's either Friday or Saturday night, the night before.
Yeah.
And he said, "I call every race like it's the Adios."
Yeah, he does.
Every race, whether it's the first race in the afternoon or
You know, he's
whatever.
announced over 188,000 races.
They said he announces
More
every
than
race
anybody in the world.
like it's the Adios.
I got it.
He called a racehorse with one of mine. I had a horse called Hancock Creed, and he wasn't one that would get out of the gate real fast. And we were last at the first quarter, last at the half. On the back stretch, he said, "Here comes Hancock Creed. He's 8th, he's 7th, he's 6th, he's 5th." Around the last turn, he said, "Hancock Creed is still coming. He's 4th, he's 3rd, he's 2nd." Hancock Creed wins the race with like the last stride or two with Doug Snyder on him. One of the greatest calls. I thanked him for that call because he picked Hancock Creed when he made his move in the backstretch.
Ain't that something?
And he called him as the winner. So it was great.
I got replacement for Roger Houston.
Who's that?
You know him too.
Who?
Coach Smith.
Coach who?
Coach Smith.
No. No. I'll pass on that. We'll be back, folks, with some more fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim, and hopefully no gambling.
Thanks, Al Levine and Talking Machine. Thanks, Chip Hayner. Thanks, Rookie of the Year, Steve Fisher, my man Connor. And I tell you what, Jack just convinced me to talk a little bit about Gateway. But before I do that, a little Pittsburgh Sportsline karma. Saturday was the 6th annual City League All Sports Hall of Fame. 125 people showed up at the door with no tickets. They couldn't get in. It was a complete sellout.
Wow.
Standing room only crowd. But I tell you what, it was a great event. Sarah Werner.
Or Sarah Marie.
Sarah Marie, she's in the Pittsburgh Sportsline Hall of Fame. She went and got her honored. It was taped by Sarah Motion, and it was a great day. And another guy, Paul Leonard, guy played. His nickname was Manster.
Wow.
From Oliver, one of the first players ever from Oliver High School. Paul Leonard would grab the whole backfield. They called him Manster because he was half man, half monster.
Wow.
Grabbed the whole backfield and sorted him out till he found the guy with the ball. Recruited to Texas A&M, full scholarship. But Texas A&M, that was the year that they signed Jackie Sherrill, so he reneged on his contract. But Paul Leonard was one of 3 players his senior year to make the fabulous 44.
Wow.
City League players. Fred Marshall, Brandon Marshall's dad, quarterback from Westinghouse, who was better than Major Harris. That's how good he was. He made it, and Bobby Howard, that played in the NFL, made it along with Paul Leonard. Paul Leonard was City League shot put champion.
Wow.
But just so happens he was a senior with Bob Bukowski from Gateway, who was national shot put record. Bukowski, laziest super athlete ever at Gateway, used to throw the shot put one time and go sit down. He had sprinter speed. He could have ran the relay on. That's how fast he was. But it was bad karma for Bukowski. Bukowski, probably one of the top 3 greatest all-around athletes in Gateway history, along with John Gay,
Wow.
Curtis Bray, and Bob Bukowski. But laziest guy to ever play for Pete Marino, but could definitely take over a game if he wanted to. Went to Pitt, was outstanding. But the poor karma was he had this girlfriend since 7th grade.
Wow.
All the way through high school. They went to Pitt together. And when Bob Bukowski got picked in the first round by the Raiders, the first phone call he made was to his girlfriend and says, I'm now single. Broke her heart. And his career just started going downhill after that. Couldn't stay out of trouble. You know, I would always run into Bob every once in a while. I didn't run into close because he was usually running a prostitution ring somewhere around. I didn't want to go in behind closed doors, but
wow.
You know, there was always drugs or something going on. But rest in peace, Bob Bukowski, one of the all-time super great athletes. But one game, Bill Fralick's senior year, Bob was a junior. Harvey Smith was a starting quarterback, first black quarterback ever at Gateway. There was so much of a demand, because back then when Gateway played, everything shut down, even the mall.
Wow.
Only place that would stay open was Burger King. Gas stations, everything was shut down. Everybody would come to the game. Well, Gateway played on Friday nights. There was such a demand for a ticket. 20,000 people wanted to be at the Gateway Penn Hills semifinal championship game at Gateway. Bill Fralick never lost a high school game. Bill Fralick senior year, #1 player in the country. Gateway changed the game to Saturday. There was so many people there. They tore down fences, everything to get people in. They cut down trees. They put seats on top of the school so people could sit up there, bleachers, everything they could do, man.
Where were you sitting? Where were you sitting at?
You could get in. And Gateway upset Penn Hills. Penn Hills was winning the whole game. It was a year after Tom Flynn graduated. Gateway ran a hook and lateral. John Gay caught the ball. Everybody got on John Gay. He fixed it to Mefetrick. Mefetrick ran all the way down for a touchdown on his way to being an All-American wide receiver at Clareton. So there it is. Bob Bukowski, Bill Fralick on the same field battling it out. Bill Fralick went out high school with an L thanks to Gateway on a Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
And that's what's on my mind. Or Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Oh, Al Monzo would have got me tickets.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he was a legend.
But Bukowski held the record for close to 40 years on that shot put, man.
Really?
One time put.
Wow, that's a great athlete. Yeah. Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Big boy. Bad call.
Well, welcome back, everybody. And, well, you know, far be it from us here on Pittsburgh Sportsline to not point out injustices that we see in the sporting world or just in general. So I'm gonna talk about an injustice that I feel is being done by the Veterans Baseball Committee for the Hall of Fame for Major League Baseball. Now, I am going to give you 2 players' statistics for their careers. Okay, one of these players is in the 10 that are being considered to be elected into the Hall of Fame, and one is not. And I want you to tell. I'll tell you who they are after I give you their stats. Okay, Player A.
Wow.
Okay, Player A played in the major leagues for 19 years. Both these players played the majority of their career for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Player A played 19 years in the major leagues, had played 2,466 games, ended up with 2,712 hits, 339 home runs, 526 doubles, 75 triples, 1,493 RBIs, and a career batting average of 290.
Wow.
Pretty impressive statistics.
Can I guess? Can I guess his name?
Not yet.
Okay.
Player B played 18 years in the major leagues, played in 2,368 games. He ended up with 2,743 hits, 529 doubles, 77 triples, 219 home runs, 1,326 RBIs. He had a career batting average of 303. Player A
Dave Parker.
is Dave Parker.
Really?
Player B was none other than Al Scoops
I was-
Oliver. Now, the reason I bring this up, because the Veterans Committee are deciding on some worthy candidates that they feel should be considered for the Hall of Fame. And I'm just going to go through the 10 very quickly
Sure.
of people that they feel were
Can I
Get a
ask
vote.
one question before you
Sure.
go to it? Was Al Oliver a lot of times a part-time player? Was he always full-time?
No, he was always a full-time player.
He didn't
He
know
played.
that?
He played center field and he played first base.
Because anybody can play first base. Sorry, Smoking.
So to get back
I
on
couldn't hold
track,
back.
to get back on track.
And he was known as Scoops.
Number 10, Steve Garvey. Steve Garvey had a good career, 294 batting average, 2,599 hits. Next up, this gentleman had a surgery named after him, none other than
Ooh,
Tommy John. Tommy John
a
has
pitcher,
been
Smoking.
in 26 seasons. He was only an All-Star 4 times, and only got Cy Young votes 4 times. He did rack up 288 wins. Okay, but he averaged a 13-11 record per year. That's per every 162 games. Number 8 is Dave Parker, and we just went over his statistics, which if you match statistics against
How was
statistics.
that guess?
Yeah, you match statistics against Al Oliver so far has got the best statistics of any of these people.
Yeah.
Next up, Don Mattingly,
Yeah.
first baseman of the New York Yankees. He was manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's been the manager of the Florida or the Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
From 1982 to 1989, Mattingly hit .323 while averaging 43 doubles, 27 homers, and 115 RBIs. Through his 6-year prime, he won an MVP award and 9 Gold Gloves. So there are some statistics that back that up. Number 6 is Dale Murphy. And if anybody remembers in the early 80s,
Yeah, I do.
when the Superstation was broadcasting Braves games,
Yeah.
Dale Murphy won back-to-back MVP awards. And here's another person whose career was cut short, but another person who's
Not the Yankee catcher.
279 career batting average. Next up, Dwight Dewey Evans.
Wow.
Played much of his career with the Red Sox. 281 career average. 2,446 hits. Next up, Thurman Munson, captain of the Yankees. Career cut short by...
I thought he was in already.
No, he died in a
died.
plane crash. He only played 12
He died.
seasons. And He collected 2 World Series rings. He was the captain of the Yankees. He died tragically in an airplane crash.
I remember that.
Number 3, and I think this is actually a good candidate out of all these so far.
Yeah.
I'd say this one here is probably the best candidate. Ted Simmons. Ted Simmons played parts of 21 seasons. He's probably one of the top 10 catchers in the history of baseball. Simmons sits as the 10th best catcher all time via WAR, which is wins above replacement. Number 2, sweet Lou Whitaker.
I like him.
Lou Whitaker formed a double play combination with Alan Trammell, helped to guide the Detroit Tigers to the 1984 World Series. He's got 2,369 career hits. And then last but not least, Marvin Miller. And it's a travesty he isn't in yet, and you can't help but wonder how much an impact owners have had on Miller still not being in. Miller was ahead of the MLB Players Association from 66 to 82, helped get free agency and arbitration put in place, and the average player salary was 10 times higher when he retired to compare when he took over. So, where there's these 10 people that are going to be voted on.
But how many of them had 2,700 hits?
That's what my point. How can a player of Al Oliver's capabilities and his career statistics, he batted over 311 times in his career. Dave Parker, who everybody says was Hall of Fame worthy, he had 5 good years with the Pirates. And if
Hold it, I got to interrupt you. He was the best player declared by baseball during those years.
During those 5 years.
They said he was the best.
But
how many players hear that?
The thing that's going to keep Dave Parker out of the Hall of Fame was his drug abuse.
Sure.
And if you look at what his statistics were, right here.
What was that?
CC 3 of 6. You see in his statistics for the years that he was, the last few years with the Pirates, it's pretty obvious that he was affected by his drug abuse.
He tailed off.
There you go. And now, for 5 years, starting with 1974. Starting with 1974. 75, batting average of 308. 76, 313. 77, won a batting title, 338. 78, 334, won a batting title, won the MVP. 79, he batted 310. 1980, dropped down to 295. And here we go, 1981, batted 258. You look at his production, 1980, 518 at-bats, 17 home runs. 1981, 240 at-bats, 9 home runs. 1982, 244 at-bats, 6 home runs. So by the time he snorted his way out of Pittsburgh, he was a shell of the player that he once was. And because he was dragged through the mud in the drug trials that surrounded Pittsburgh at that time, I think that's the reason why he's being kept out of
Hey,
the
one
Hall of
other
Fame.
thing about him, he was the first $1 million ball player.
Yes, he was.
So, I mean, these are things that most players didn't do. Mm-hmm. And he had that time the best in baseball. People would quote that.
Yeah.
And that stuck in my mind that how could you sink so far, due to drugs?
I would put Parker in before I put Al Oliver in. Yeah, no problem. And plus, with the arm, and he had a gun for an arm.
He had a gun for an arm. Al Oliver had a better fielding percentage. His statistics.
He didn't have that gun.
He was a better fielder.
At first base, he didn't have to gun anybody down.
In center field, he did.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
He played first in 71, they had Clemente in right, they had Stargell in left, and they had Al Oliver in center field.
Right. To play center field, you got to be pretty good.
Well, you got 2 Hall of Famers on the corners.
Yeah.
And a Hall of Famer in center field.
It should be.
2 of them are in the Hall and 1 is not.
Well, who would you put in first?
Al Oliver.
Over Parker?
All day long.
Even though he was the best in baseball?
Parker's tainted because of the drugs. So I'd put a guy in that's a straight shooter, and I think he's even a minister nowadays.
Al
I
Oliver.
put Al Oliver in.
And plus, he's been on the show, right?
We interviewed him on the phone.
Yeah, we had a phone interview, and I met him at his book signing over at Northside.
I didn't go to that.
Yeah, you missed it.
But Al Oliver never had batteries thrown at him either.
He didn't need to.
He didn't need to.
Yeah. Thanks, Smoking. Chip, thanks
There
for
you
that
go.
information.
There you
Great
go.
job, Chip.
You don't have a vote.
You have a vote. You just get outvoted.
All right, let me get to my segment here. On location, on Veterans Day, November 11th, we'll be at Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 7:30 to 8:30. We got a bunch of guests coming there. Jamie Chesney, shout out to her losing her father. Prayers to her and her family. Her father just died the other day, so talked to her yesterday, and he was still alive, but I saw today he passed away. She'll be a guest. Somebody she's training in MMA, Raven, and another guy that we saw fight in MMA and won, Joshua. I'm not sure of his last name. He's going to be on. And then a lady that I know has cruises with legendary Steelers and fans. So she's going to talk about that. Jamie's her name. So we'll have two Jamies on our show.
All right.
So we got a great cast of characters, and there's great pizza there. Frank Fanera has great Italian food, some specials out there. Smoking Jim and I are partial to the Italian ice. If they have it, we'll have to see. It's a little chilly out for most of us people. Smoking Jim doesn't notice if it's hot or cold, even though for some reason it's strange that he wears winter clothes in the wintertime. I just can't figure that out, but he's an honest man. So who am I to ask him what goes on? And then Judge Arnone and I had a little talk. We're looking at having a show the first week of December, maybe the second it'll be, at a local location and bar and restaurant in Bethel Park. And we're going to do a fundraising show, so we're going to invite a bunch of people to donate money. And it looks like because of my kidney transplant, I contacted the Kidney Foundation in Pittsburgh, talked to a nice lady, Jenny. I'm going to meet with her at Reginald's Coffee over some tea. So we'll talk about how they'll help us out to do some fundraising on that night. So that's what we're looking for, December 2nd there. So stay tuned for that. Jose Carabello wants to do a show with us, but we don't have enough days in the month to do it, to coordinate it. So we're going to work on something there if it's possible. So we might be back in the Millville VFW Post 118. Stay
Kwanzaa
tuned
open?
for that. We're not sure about that because Smoking Jim has Black History Month. And just to go off the tangent a little bit, he'll probably discuss Kwanzaa in February, because any other time of the year, 11 months out of the year, you wouldn't know that he's a black man, because rarely does he mention anything about black folks. So we'll stay tuned for that. And by the way, I had another good exam today at the hospital, gave good blood work. They cut another pill. I had a bladder stent in. They took it out. I won't describe how they did it, but they got it out of me within 5 minutes, so I'm doing much better, and I'm healing up from that
5
transplant.
excruciatingly long minutes, right?
Yes, they were.
I got some stem cell information, man.
Well, you don't even know where the stem cells come. We're not even going to ask what they do. I had a doctor on our show that Bill Franciscus had on our show who talked about stem cell injections and other things on the show, but somehow you must have had the sunglasses on and didn't see her. But she's a well-known doctor in the area, charges thousands of dollars to get you healthy, and she could have probably given you a deal on it if you would have asked one question of her. But somehow you didn't. And I'm not trying to pick on them, but we just go through this stuff. So that's my on location. We'll be back with some Steeler talk.
We're in the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row, and here's Yager with the puck. Yager, nice move around Brett Center to the backhand. Let's it go, he scores!
Yeah.
Welcome back. They didn't give us a promo here. We're surprised. Live TV, folks. That's a great shot of me, so I appreciate that. We got some Steeler talk. What a game that was.
I'll tell you what. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
I'll take that
And
all
I'm
day.
telling
How
you
do you
what.
have a legendary future Hall of Fame kicker miss the winning field goal?
You know, what I feel were the two key plays in that game that had a direct impact on the final score was the penalty with no time left at the end of the first half by Darius Leonard, who hit,
One of the dumbest plays.
and we were able to kick a field goal, which ultimately was the difference in the
Right.
And is Chris Bosworth not the Steelers MVP this year?
No.
He hasn't missed yet. He missed one kick.
Boswell.
A 54-yard. Second play that had a significant impact was when Mason Rudolph got sacked in the end zone.
Yeah.
And Al Villanueva covered the ball in the end zone for safety instead of for 6 points. Because if Indianapolis covers it, that changes the
Whole
complete
complexion
complexion
of
of
the
the
game.
game.
I got one better than that. This is the difference in the game. When you put a quarterback in there who's been with 8 teams, including the Steelers, and he'll be with his 9th team next year.
I thought you meant next week.
They're winning 10-3. They're getting ready to go up 17-3, which would have canceled the whole game. And a field goal would have won the game for him at that point in the first half. And he throws it, and Mika Fitzpatrick picks it off. That was a 14-point swing. And I tell you
96 yards.
he got some wheels on him or what?
He was flying.
He was flying.
Boy, he was a number 1 pick.
I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
So
But
he's
before
good.
you go to that, did Ironhead Hayward dump the best offensive guard in football?
Right into the quarterback.
Yeah.
My goodness, he made him.
He
I
was
thought
a
that was
beast.
Reggie White coming up there.
Let me tell you something. I think Cam Hayward got sick and tired of hearing about how much of an animal this guy is and how good that
He went wild.
But that all being said, okay, Indianapolis games, it's in the record books. Okay, it's a win. They got Aaron Donald this week.
Yeah.
And and I'm telling you what, it's going to take all 5 of them.
Yeah, but that Rams defense is a little suspect at times.
Yeah.
Donald's great, but then the rest of them all of a sudden fade out on things.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Well, they got Jalen Ramsey now.
I know.
They move Donald around
Right.
so that they can try to get him into positions
Maximize him.
where he isn't getting double teamed. And I'm telling you what, Aaron Donald is a man among men. I
Well, it
mean,
may be a home game for the Rams because Aaron Donald, who donated a lot of money to Pitt, is from.
And he still works out with the Pitt defensive line.
Yeah, he was just here last week working out in his offseason. Very hard worker. But
during his regular season.
I heard that most of the people with the cardboard things that got tickets together, they say most of them from Penn Hills. So they're going to sell tickets to Penn Hills guys. They got all that extra ticket, man. It's going to be Aaron Donald.
just think about this. If you're a Pittsburgh Steeler and every day you go to the practice facility in the South Side and you go into the Aaron Donald Training Center.
Yeah. And he's
point.
worked. Look at how Pitt's defense is one of the best in the country.
Yeah, thanks to Donald, yeah.
And he's working out
but
with
I
these
mean,
guys, showing them his moves.
So I think this weekend, I do think the Steelers are capable enough of winning the game.
You're going to get blown out.
I would beg
You
to
heard
differ.
it here first.
I beg to differ.
Bet
with you.
everything you have on the Steelers. You heard it here from Smoking. I don't know anything about betting.
Because I can tell
Frazier.
you this. The Rams, when they've looked good this year, they've looked real good.
Yeah.
And when they've looked bad,
They
they've
have.
looked they've
I've
looked
watched a
they've
couple
looked
games.
bad. So the Steelers, if they've done nothing else, they've been fairly consistent all year. And I know Jim's going to make some kind of crack about this, but if you think about the teams,
Did you not see the New England game?
well, that is the only game that we played this year that we were not in.
That's true.
Okay, I mean, now we
Belichick's
lost to the
in our-
Ravens. That Ravens
Overtime.
game, the outcome was decided late. Seattle game, we could have won that one,
true.
and we had San Francisco on the ropes.
That's true.
So those are all 3 teams with 7 wins or more. But the only game that it looked like the Steelers didn't even belong in the same stadium with was when we played the
Well,
Patriots.
Belichick's in their head. He owns us.
You know who New England reminds me of?
No.
The Rams.
That's why I bet the opposite of what he says. Don't bet with Smoking Jim Frazier.
No, but okay. So let's some other sports to talk about. Tonight is the tip-off of the college basketball season.
I love it.
So now Jim Frazier can lose money at a much more staggering pace than he could have yesterday.
He already got his money down on teams that he's going to lose tonight.
He's got money bet on teams that aren't even playing tonight.
He's betting against Michigan State
I
and
mean,
Duke.
you've got Kansas and Duke, and you've got Michigan State and Kentucky playing in Madison Square Garden tonight to kick off the season.
What a start.
Duquesne starts their season this evening. They started playing at 6 o'clock. The NBA season's in full gear, and last night the Penguins got taken out behind the woodshed and beat by the best team in the NHL this year.
Boston
the Boston
Bruins.
Bruins are 11-1-2 this season. And now I tell you what, I watched them play Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals last June, and St. Louis. I watched that game, and Boston didn't lose that game. St. Louis won that game.
It was their year.
It was St. Louis won that game. Boston did definitely, but I can tell you this: that Boston team has come back with a purpose.
Their goaltending is great.
Well, they've got Halak, and then they've got Tuukka Rask as their number one.
Who?
But Yaroslav Halak, he was somebody that the Penguins ran into about 6 or 7 years. It's like Falcone. Okay. But, they've got two goaltenders that either one of them could be starting on any team in the NHL.
Oh, for sure.
So, Boston's just, they're red hot. They're coming out but you know what? Here's the thing. October, the wins in October and November count just as much as they do in March and April. But March and April is when you need to get hot. Can they sustain what they're doing right now over an 80-game season? And then you take into account that there's 4 more 7-game series that they got to play at the end of the 80-game season. So, you got to pace yourself in hockey. It's a sprint. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
The nice thing about the Penguins, they've overcome a lot of injuries to play a gritty game where they're not quitting. They're coming back. They tied this game.
They tied this game with 4 goals in the second period.
Right.
But last night, Letang went out hurt. He's got a lower body injury.
Who
I
knows?
heard it was a pulled groin muscle. So,
he's been playing great. He's got more shots than anybody on the team, and
a
he's
nagging
shooting the puck
injury
on
like
net.
a groin or a hamstring. Those things can sometimes take forever to heal.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Smoking Jim, we got a little boxing. What'd you think of the boxing at Princescape?
Man, I was so impressed with Johnny Spell. He got his head on straight right now, and he's had a girlfriend for the last
debut.
Pro debut. He got a same girlfriend for the last 5 years, so he's focused. He's working out in Baltimore. He's still got his dad in his corner, but the body shots, the potential is limitless.
His jabs were great.
Just great, and I tell you what, he got that Tommy Hearns jab where he brings it from here, man.
Yeah.
Can't get away from it.
And he was consistent all night long.
And I was proud of Mike Mann. I like to talk him into fighting one more time.
How about where Mike Mann, we're waiting, I just told Smoking Jim, he got that right to throw. The guys open for it. They were right in front of us when he hit him with that punch, and the guy went down like he got shot.
But I tell you what, in that
Pretty Boy Catalina.
They almost came through the ropes on us a couple of times.
Oh, man, the guy Brock Willis was bull rushing him like an MMA fighter. It wasn't boxing. So Richie, it took about three rounds to straighten out a little bit, so he kept hitting him consistently.
And there was fights in the crowd, but hey.
There was a couple of little things, and then Lubomir, we'll tell you after the record on that. But then Lubomir broke his hand in the second round. He came up to me after the fights because I said, something looked wrong with you. And he just fought on after he broke his hand in the second round, and he won his fight.
Did you see the head on that guy? He was fighting, no wonder.
Yeah, it was hard as could be. And Oleg, the little pit bull from Ukraine, he won again. Right. And we're going to have to end this show. Thanks for watching Smoking Jim, Chip Hayner, Al Levine saying goodnight. Stay Joey strong.